Before we get started, I want Kenyatta Wilborn Snap, our Chief Operating Officer, come and explain this project. This may be your first time, but we've also been blessed to receive $1 million construction grant. We're going to be adding on this facility and some of the things we're going to be doing. Come on, KC.
Good evening. My name is Casey Wilborn Snap. I serve as the Chief Operations Officer of DABO, and it gives me great pleasure to give just a brief insight of where we are. We had the ability to write and compete for a $1 million construction grant, and with that grant, we will be completely renovating the 12048 location, which we deem as the headquarters building, to maintain the legacy of Horace L. Sheffield II, and then to add an addition to this space. Isn't this space beautiful? And so after all of the hard work that has come, the equity that has come directly from Reverend Sheffield, now we have an opportunity to have some of those grant dollars to continue to do that work. Thank you so much. I hope that you all have a wonderful evening.
So over here, we're adding on behind us. And, you know, we're very much in the media. I have about 4 people work full-time for us doing media. So we're building the Detroit Community Cares Network. It's going to be a radio and TV studio that young people can use. People can come do their podcast, you know how they, all of that stuff, and we'll hear more about that. Cash Tech Class of 72 can come over and do something. Let's acknowledge the coolest man in the room, Ed Gordon. Come up here, Ed. Cash Tech graduate. How many of y'all remember Donnell Lee? He has a different number. He was cool, so cool. They nicknamed him Refrigerator. Come on, man, do that little swag for us. Say hello. BET alumni too, right?
Good evening. Let me just tell you, I'm not going to take up any time. I came for my friend the other month, Jerika Duncan, who I work with at CBS. But this guy right here, I'm going to tell y'all something. When I came to BET, the first day, you know, you're in awe of Donnie, right? But Donnie made me feel at home the second I saw him. And in an industry full of egos and funky people, not this dude right here. He is the truth. So enjoy him this evening and welcome him home, y'all.
So before I give you a few announcements, since you brought that up, I wasn't the best looking guy in high school. I was a good athlete. And I learned from Donnie Simpson that if I could talk right, come on somebody. Hey, baby. You know, you had to, we called it a rap back in them days. Rap meant something different. And by the way, we were respectful of women. Am I right or wrong? And my first girlfriend, I told her that if Nefertiti and Candace were in the same room, you'd be prettier than both of them. She knew who Nefertiti was, but she didn't know who Candace was. Queen of Ethiopia. There's a whole notion of whether or not she was prettier than Nefertiti. Y'all know the history? And Candace is in the New Testament. Look in Acts, 6th chapter. Beautiful black women. Amen. You ain't a black man, I'm done now, until you learn to bow before a powerful black woman. Hello, somebody. And I say this because I didn't have no brothers, but I go home and get my sisters and they beat up anybody. Couple quick announcements. Tonight we have an after party at One Mic Comedy Club, which I happen to be the owner. We invite you down there. We also have now a community empowered music series. We had a young lady who was the lead singer for SOS Band, but we have Luther coming, forget his name. Luther Keith have a blues night on the 7th of August. Evelyn Champagne King will be here on the 30th of October. Our speakers coming up, Moo Fresh, a great rapper. She'll be here in April. We got Jamal Bryant coming back, Dr. Cornell West coming back this year, so please support us in all that we do. I want to mention our sponsors, Bedrock, Priority Waste, and Comerica make this possible. Introduce my president. I'm going to say a word real quick before we get started. Ronald Lockett.
Good evening. Thanks a lot for coming. This, without any doubt, is the finest speaker series in America. We've shown this time and time again. It is a special night when we have a beloved son of Detroit to come back home, who I remember as the Love Bug just so well on radio. But again, we have a lot of things going tonight. Tomorrow night, we have bingo, which has been, we had to close the doors last week because we were at capacity. So spread the word. And again, Dabo is just trying to uplift the community day by day. Thank you.
Before I introduce our speaker and our guest, we have one of the best Jet magazine collections ever. This is even half of what we have. But somewhere on one of those shelves is a Jet magazine with Donnie Simpson's picture on it, on the cover. If you find that magazine, and don't get up now, you get 2 tickets to LCA Suite to see Martin Lawrence. And don't tear the magazine up trying to grab it. All right, without any further ado, you know, we've got some great folks that come from the city of Detroit, right? Y'all talk to me, y'all quiet. I'm a preacher. I walk out of church when they don't say nothing. First, let me introduce Lacey Horn. She's our board member. She's a WDIV. All those interviews you see when we have people come in town, she sets those up for us. Up-and-coming journalist, no longer a fledgling journalist, but an outstanding journalist who participates in a lot that we do here. She'll be doing the interview tonight. And, of course, our own Donnie Simpson. Give it up for Donnie Simpson. Love Bug, WJLB. And we're proud of him, and, you know, he's so humble. He's so kind, he's so nice, and we share a lot in common. I'm going to be done now. I love the way he honors his mother and father. He doesn't talk long without mentioning the influence that they've had on him. And so without any further ado, our guest speaker and our moderator.
Mic check, 1, 2.
Uh-oh. See, that's that voice. That's that voice that we all fell in love with, right?
Oh, please.
Mr. Simpson, I am so excited to sit and talk with you today. I'm sitting with the Love Bug, y'all. I mean, give it up for him one more time.
Man, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
You know what?
You just don't know.
You could have been anywhere in the world, but you decided to come back home to the D.
Well, hey. Absolutely.
Came home to see us.
You could be anywhere in the world, but ain't nowhere in the world like this.
That's true.
You know, really. I mean, it's home, man. Ain't nothing like home. Didn't I see that in a movie once? There's no place like home.
There's no place like home.
No place like home.
Okay, well, I'm going to start by warming us up with a little game. You got to play a game with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and this game is called Which Video Had More Soul?
Oh.
So we're going to give you 2 songs. Well, if you can remember the videos. If you can't remember the videos, we're going to do the songs, because I know you know the songs.
Yeah,
you got to
that
tell
would
me
be
which
better
one
for
had
me.
more soul.
Because I got to tell you, I love music so much. I watch videos like this. Seriously, I'm serious. I get lost in music. I would never watch the videos.
Okay, well, so then we're going to go with which song had more soul. Which one did it for you? Okay, so Tony Braxton, Unbreak My Heart, or 7 Whole Days?
7 whole days.
7 Whole Days?
7 whole days.
What y'all say, audience? 7 Whole Days?
7 whole days.
Unbreak My Heart? Anybody say Unbreak My Heart? Okay, okay, 1, okay. All right, so New Edition, Can You Stand the Rain, or Is It Love?
Can You Stand the Rain?
That's the one?
Right. Hey, yeah, we all playing this game, y'all.
Wait a minute,
Can You
okay,
Stand
wait.
the Rain?
Who agrees with the Love Bug? Is it Can You Stand the Rain?
Yeah.
Okay, if it is in love, which, okay.
Hey, hollering doesn't count.
He was back there doing the choreography and everything, y'all. Y'all missed it. Okay, so we got Janet Jackson, Control, or Rhythm Nation?
Ooh.
Control. Rhythm Nation. Which one, Rhythm Nation?
Control.
Control?
I'm going to go with Control.
Why? Why Control?
I was supposed to be in that video.
Were you really?
Yeah. I had to tell you, I was in L.A. hanging out with Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis, and so I got this call. So we're doing the Janet Jackson video for Control tomorrow. Would love to have you in it. It's like, all right, cool. So all day I'm thinking about it. God, I'm supposed to go home tomorrow. And I was with my brother-in-law. So we were hanging out at this chicken joint for like 4 hours, because that's what brothers do, right?
Right.
And so finally I kept thinking about it. And finally my brother-in-law said, you have to go home. Tomorrow is your 13th wedding anniversary.
Oh.
So I went home and have regretted it ever since. Man, when I saw that video and they were in that Cadillac, man, I could have been in there with the time. And man, so every time I see that video, I get sick. But, because and plus I didn't know then, now we're at 50 years.
Right.
So I could have skipped one. I could have skipped 13,
Wait a minute, we can't slide past that. 50 years of marriage. Can we just give it up for that just one?
Yeah, thank you. To a Mumford girl, by the way. I went to Denby, she went to Mumford.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
my boo. I call her my boo. I know a lot of people say that, but she's born on Halloween. So she truly is my boo.
Okay. So we got Whitney Houston, I Have Nothing, or I Will Always Love You.
I have nothing.
I Have Nothing?
Yeah. Well,
Audience, do you agree with him? Is it I Have Nothing?
yeah.
I Will Always Love You? Okay, now you got to explain.
I don't have to explain nothing. They don't know what they're talking
He
about.
said, I said what I said.
Right. You said for
My
me,
opinion.
right?
I did.
We're not taking a poll. It's not popular opinion.
That's true. We
This
did
is what
come
I like.
to see you. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I love I Have Nothing. I love both of them, yeah.
But that was the one
But,
for
you know, I mean, on the 30 Wrench, but her first hit was You Give Good Love was trumps both of those to me.
Oh, really?
Hell, yeah.
Oh, wow.
For soul, yeah.
Okay, well, we're going to do the last one.
Okay.
Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, or Thriller?
Remember the Time.
Remember the Time? And then you-
Remember the Time. Yeah. You know.
That's my
Do
personal
you
favorite.
You know, Michael's got all that,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, that's the stuff he did. It's just, yeah.
That-
Thriller.
That music video is my favorite Michael Jackson video of all time. That's my favorite dance break ever.
Really?
Remember this? Yes.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
it's nothing like Go Michael. That makes me want to go Michael every
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
So I agree with you.
It would be hard to pick Michael's favorite video for me. I mean, well, you know, you talk about impactful, and you got a Thriller.
That's true.
But Michael was just a whole different animal. I was watching his 40th year documentary last night, as a matter of fact, for the third time. Michael was just amazing.
He was.
Just, oh my God, greatest performer I ever saw.
Legend.
Yeah.
Legendary. So obviously you have this love for music. I know you started your career at 15 years old
Yeah.
at WJLB
Yes,
as
ma'am.
a DJ.
Yes,
so where
ma'am.
does your love for music stem from?
Well, I grew up in my mother's record shop over on Joseph Campo at 6 Mile. And, you know, I don't know if it starts there, if it starts at birth. You know, I don't know where where the love started. Because I was 12 when she opened the record shop. But, you know, I remember when we got, my twin brother is here. I just want to acknowledge him. Lonnie, my
You got to stand up.
Come
brother.
on,
You gotta
Lonnie, stand up.
up.
Pastor Lonnie
Give it up
Simpson.
to him, y'all.
And his wife, Pat. Pastor Pat Simpson. And Lonnie will remember this, I guess, when we got our first record player. We had one record. The Drifters saved the last dance for me. We played that thing to death, man. Only one record. So I guess that's where it started. But I don't know. But being in my mother's record shop, I just, you know, being around music all day, every day, and always knowing what was new, you know, because we got it the day it came out. I was always on top of it from the age of 12. And I could run the record shop by myself at the age of 12.
Wow.
And so, you know, and I think I just, you know, I had this innate thing for people and music that I could see you coming across the street towards the record shop, and I would go to the shelf and pull off, say, 3 songs. And you would ask for those 3, not 2 of the 3, but all 3. I just kind of knew, what people liked. So I don't know. The reason I got on the radio, people used to come in the record shop and tell me all the time, man, you sound like a DJ. You ought to be a DJ. It was in one ear, out the other. I wanted to be a Baptist minister.
Wow.
Really, that was like the Reverend C.L. Franklin, or Reverend Cleophas Robinson, who used to come into Detroit and do service at my mom's church every year. And but the day that my mom had a live remote broadcast, Al Perkins came out and did his radio show from my mother's shop. And he had me come into the booth and announce specials. We got the Temptations' greatest hits on sale for $2.99 this hour. But while I was in there, I'm looking at, he's got his headphones on, man. He's jamming to the music. And I was like, man, I could do that. I want to do that. It was that day. It was the very day I fell in love with radio. And within a month or two, I was on air. I was as a teen reporter, and then, wow, things just happened, so.
You were doing that at 15, and I know we all remember you on, well, y'all do, I wasn't. But
yeah, you weren't around. Yeah. You
But
remember hearing about it.
I remember
You weren't
hearing
here.
about it, did my research about it. And
Yeah.
what were some of the greatest challenges you can remember being 15 in the industry back then? Can you remember that far?
It's funny. I don't remember. It's like I never remember like hard times or I don't know if it's just my makeup that I just let that go. It had to be some tough times, but I guess they were also short-lived. Most of it was good for me. I don't know. It was it happened so fast. I was because I became so popular as a teen reporter, even though these things were only like 60 to 90 seconds long, once a day, I was more popular than most of the DJs because I was this kid with this heavy voice. And wow, I remember, you won't believe this, my first interview ever was with Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
How good is that? At 15. I just happened to be at the station. He was there that day. I put a mic in front of him. I had him on my team report. Wow. But they put me on the air because I was so popular for 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday afternoon, and then I got so popular from that. Well, they fired the guy who worked 8 to midnight and asked me to sit in for him for 1 week to give them time to find someone else. And I sat there for 7.5 years, right. So it was just like that. Everything just happened so fast for me. That's why I say I don't really remember, there's always tough times, but it's kind of like me. That's the way I look at like marriage, even everything. That it's just, I look at it like a tennis match. Like I can lose a point, don't mean I lose the game.
That's true.
I can lose a game and not lose the set.
That's true.
Lose a set and not lose the match. I'm still in it. So that's just the way I look at things. I don't dwell in the negative. It's always the good. That's how I am.
Is that what's been one of the keys to your success, is staying positive and doing what you love?
Well, I think so. I think that has a lot to do with it. I'm very positive, and and I do what I love. But I think the biggest thing in it is being me. And that works in all walks of life, not just broadcasters. In every walk of life, man. That's the thing that connects you to people, when they feel you and that it's real. I've always felt like there are 1,000 people out there waiting to take my job, and that 500 of them are just as good as I am. The other 500 are better. Only thing I can beat them all at is being me. You can't beat me doing that. So I be me. I should write that down. I be me. I might get that past my English teacher, but I like it. I be me. But really, that's the number one thing to me is just being you. Like every day before I do a show, like I'm always nervous. Tonight, coming here, I'm nervous.
I can't believe that.
Oh,
You've
I
been
am.
doing this for so long.
I am. I'm always nervous. My first thought is always that no one will come. And then I get there and go, wow. you know, but, you know, I'm nervous, and then I pray before every show and ask the Lord to make me great. I want to be great. But I know that I can never be perfect. But I don't have to be. The only thing I have to be is me. You know, I have to be me. And so, you know, luckily, you know, people have been with me through it, and they stick with me. You know, I mean, God, people have been so good to me. And, you know, especially Detroit. You know, I have to just tell y'all this, that what it means to me to have the city behind you, to have people, you know, like y'all to support me. You know, it's like every child wants their parent to be proud of them. It's the same thing for me as a talent. That's always been a motivating force for me. I wanted Detroit to be proud of me. You know, that when I left, I said on the air, I'll be back. And I didn't necessarily mean I'll be coming back to work at JLB or to work radio here again, but I would be back in some capacity. I knew that. And so I did through BET.
Well, how do you feel that Detroit has prepared you for the big stage?
Oh, well, Detroit is, you know, the support that Detroit has given me, man, not just the years that I was here, but beyond, I think was, you know, it's like being at the Apollo, I guess. You know, Detroit, you know, I feel like if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. You know, Detroit, yeah, Detroit's just a great city. You know, it's that pride. You know, I think I get that from Detroit, just pride in what you do. You know, to be good and to be proud of what you have and who you are, and, you know, and to represent, you know, I'm Detroit through and through. I mean, you know, I've been in D.C. since '77, and people go all the time, well, you've been here 44 years, whatever, man. You know, you D.C. boy now. I said, man, I could be here 144 years. I'm from Detroit. That ain't never gonna change. Seriously. Y'all don't do that. I got Detroit Lions draws on right now. That's the way I roll. Too much information.
Not at all.
But it's for real, man. I love Detroit, love the Lions. The year we lost every game, I saw every play. My son would call, Dad, what you watching? Lions. You not watching New England, Pittsburgh? Nope. You're not even back and forth? Nope. Watching the Lions, man. You know, it's Detroit.
Well, you know, I do want to take this time to mention that food is being served in the back. So if you guys are hungry, please go ahead and take care of that. That per Sheffield, I don't want to get yelled at y'all. So make sure you get some
I know
food.
they're going to have food here. That's nice. This is nice.
Yes. So I do want to ask, radio industry has changed so much since you first joined when you were 15 years old. What do you feel about the state of radio, you know, now? And do you think that radio is a dead form of communication?
Wow, what a question. Woo, that's bringing it. Well, you know what? It's, I mean, I don't think there's anyone that could deny that it is dying. You know, you talk to young people, don't even listen to radio. It's almost like they don't even know what it is. You know, I mean, you get in your car, you got all the music you can stand on your phone. You know, it automatically syncs with your car. You go, you know. So that is an issue. Radio has changed so much. You know, I feel like radio, you know, that radio has lost its. Radio was always progressive to me. You know, it was about pushing the envelope, licking the envelope. You know, that was radio to me. It's not that anymore. Everybody's scared to lose their job and scared to take a chance on some. Same thing in television, you know. And what happened, I think a lot of it is because of the that whole advertising-based model change, and is a problem. Radio, television, print. Print. People in radio and television were lucky. You just taking pay cuts. Print, they were shutting their doors, you know, because those advertising dollars started going to the internet. That was the problem, and it still is. But I'll say this: the upside of all of that to me is that I look at it now, and you know, like with an interest in television in particular, Now you have so many outlets, with streaming services and YouTube and everything, that now you can bypass that whole green lighting process that is Hollywood, where you sitting there with some 26-year-old kid who has no idea who you are and what your reach is, and you can just take it to the people yourself, and all of these outlets need shows, and so content is king. So that's the upside of it. So that's really good. So, so again, there, for me, I start with the negative, but there's the positive. It's always something good in it, and that's the good in it for me, that you can have all these outlets now that you can do different things on.
So do you think the key to success now is you have to own your content to put it out?
Yeah, you should always own it, and that ain't nothing new. It's new for me, unfortunately, because I had such good lessons growing up. My mom with her record shop, my dad had a rent-a-cop security service. I call it rent-a-cop. My brother had his own record business. He had, if y'all remember Bad Records, he was at one point the biggest black record retailer in the country. So I had all these entrepreneurial images, right at home. But I just never had that chip, that entrepreneurial chip. And now I'm trying to develop it, So I'm trying to do some things now because, I did very well, but I always felt like I was a hired smile. I never owned it. Just think if I owned Video Soul, what that would have been, So, I would always get jealous when the plumber would come to the house and you see on the side of the truck, Johnson and Sons since 1957. It's like, dang, this dude's got something he can pass down to his kids, I can't pass down popularity, so, but it's never too late. And I'm trying to develop some things now. I have to say that Bob Johnson has been just amazing to me. Bob has been so helpful. He's, how lucky am I to have as my mentor, as I'm trying to learn business, the world's first black billionaire. That's awesome. I'm blessed. He's been great to me. He really has. I love Bob.
Are there some other people that you credit your success to, that people that helped you along the way? 'Cause I know you mentioned Bob, but
yeah, oh yeah, man, it'd be a million of them. Starting here, people that support you. But immediately comes to mind Ken Bell, who used to be a DJ here in Detroit, who's gone now. Ken Bell and Ernie Durham, Ernie D, the king of cookery. Cooking on my stoves of two. One is electric, one is gas. Put them together, they are set to blast. Woo! Oh, man. Ernie, that's my earliest remembrance of radio, was hearing a guy say, "This is Ernie D with Ray Charles and Hit the Road, Jack." That's my earliest remembrance of radio. But Ken would allow me to come into the radio station and make tapes and critique them and all of that. And that just meant so much to me. My producer recently asked me, "Why do you always allow people to come in when it's so distracting?" I said, "Because somebody let me distract them, and look what happened, So you got to do that. But Ken was that guy for me. Ernie was, for me, obviously it's a different kind of style. Ernie was king of cookery, I'm laid back and all that. But what Ernie D taught me was just how to approach it with class, off air. Ernie was just a classy guy, man. And maybe I would have had that anyway. Maybe I got that from mom and dad. Maybe I got that from God. Maybe that was just who I am. I don't know. But Ernie, I just always admired that in him. He looked everybody in the eye and spoke to them, and so I've always tried to be that way. And again, I don't know if it's trying to be that way or you just are that way. I don't know. But, it was just amazing. It was just the most incredible. And to grow up under Motown here, how lucky was I to grow up right here in Detroit, being a music lover like that, to grow up in the heart of this, of Motown, man. God, oh, man. Blessed. I'm so glad God put me here.
Let's see, do you have any good Martha Jean, the Queen stories that you
Oh,
could
man.
share?
Martha, man, I love the Queen. She was something else. But you know, the only thing, as soon as you said that, and I'm gonna be honest, first thing she was telling me, and this is right before I got married, when I first met Pam, she's telling me, no, you need to, go out and spread your love. Something like that, like you're too young to be married and all that, And, yeah, but I wasn't hearing it. That was, I don't know, I was kind of grown early, I mean, when I first met, me and Pam got married at 19 and had our first child 1 year, 2 days later. I never lived that college campus life. I went to University of Detroit, but man, I had a house. I lived at home with my wife and my kid, and I had a job for several. It was different for me. It was just, everything happened so early for me. And my boys Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis always tell me that they feel like that has a lot to do with my success. Is the fact that I had my base set early. He said, man, we're out there, we're trying to find what you got. The base is set. You don't have to worry about that. And that's true. That's true. So, again, I thank God for that, for giving me this woman that I love. And, 50 years, man. And it's, 50 years, man. I don't know if we're going to make 51, but we trying. But it's the coolest thing in life to me. Number one thing for me is to see my high school sweetheart now in the role of grandmother. To have shared that much of someone's life, it's just special to me. I love it, man. I wouldn't have done it any other way. She said she would have. But I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have done it any other way.
So how did you get from Detroit to D.C.? Because you moved your whole family to D.C., right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Let's rewind back in time. What made you go to D.C.?
Well, they offered me a whole lot more money. Yeah. I thought I was rich, right? Because I left here, I was making $13,000. I went there, man, they were paying me $27,500. Woo! But what I didn't know, because I was too young to understand it, cost of living was 3 times what it was in Detroit. So, man, in the first couple years, man, we were struggling. Plus I'd lost my side hustle, because I wasn't popular there yet. So, you're not emceeing shows and doing all this other stuff, man. Man, we were struggling. I'm telling you. And the moment that I always think about, and it brings me to tears sometimes, is I had what would have been the last pictures of my grandfather, my father's father, down in Alabama. And put them, you used to have to put them in the shop to get them developed, And, man, I couldn't afford to get them out. It was $26. And, man, I kept putting it off, trying, And finally, after 3 months, I got a notification that they had destroyed them, because, man, but that's what it was, But very quickly, that turned around, because I went to D.C. in 77. They made me program director in 79, and in 1980, we went from 16th place to number 1. And, yeah, thank you. And then after that, it was just incredible. Oh my God, things just changed. I had this conversation one night with Anita Baker, and we were talking about just how when your life exceeds your dreams. And, my dream was to make $50,000 a year at CKLW. I used to want to work at CKLW, $50,000. And I ended up making 100 times that, but the reason we're talking about that was because it gets to the point when you've exceeded your dreams, how do you keep asking for more without feeling greedy? And I was telling Anita, I said, the point is, it's not what your dreams are, it's what your value is. you know, and you got to make them pay your value. And while I was making a lot of money, you know, I mean, if I'm making $1 million, you must be making 2 or 3 to pay me this, right? So that always became the focus for me. And I tell you, it's not just because of my personal pockets. For me, I always felt that it was my charge in radio to correct the pay scale between blacks and whites. That I should, not solely on me, but I have to do my part. And wow, Al Perkins was a big part in making me feel that. Right after we had gone that run, I told you we went from 16th to number 1. And so I'm in a contract negotiation. They're not coming with the money that I think I should. You know, the white guys are making still, just like when I was here. Here, I told you I'm making $13,000. The white guy over CKLW is making 50. Wow. And I'm killing them. Right. You know, so it's not right. But so after we make this run to number 1, and I'm in a contract negotiation, they're not coming with the money I think is right. You know, the white guys are still making a lot more than what they're offering me. I walked out. You know, I walked out. And, yeah.
Thank you.
And, you know, and it was hard because, you know, you got a mortgage and car notes and 2 kids at home and a wife and all of that. You know, but, man, here's one thing that I think that is very important to me. And it's something my twin brother always says. He always tells people, my brother has money, but money doesn't have him. And that's the truth. And I think that's one of the reasons I was able to make money was because I didn't care about money. Because I'm willing to put it all on the line. You know, it's principle to me. You're not gonna pay me less than you pay. You're gonna pay me more than him. You know, and I'll give you a good example, and this guy was a great motivation for me. Fred G. Sanford. And the G stand for gonna get that money. But when he walked out, and you know all those episodes where you see Grady in the lead, no Fred, that's because he had walked out. Because he had the number 1 show in America, All in the Family with Archie Bunker was second, but Archie made more money. And Fred said, man, I'm not, Red said, not gonna work until I make $1 more than him. And he didn't come back until then. Man, I love that. You know, but to get back to Al Perkins, during that time I walked out, Al called me one day and told me, he said, man, I heard what was going on, man. I said, yeah. He said, man, I just want to tell you, man, that you are the first one of us to be in a position to make serious money legitimately. And if you don't get it, you didn't just screw Pam and them kids, you screwed everyone behind you, man. Wow. Man, whew. To hear that from somebody who knew what it was like to make $60 a week in Little Rock, you know, it just charged me. You know, it really did. And so that was always just important to me. Again, that's why I say it's not necessarily for my pockets, but for our pockets. Because, you know, we is always bigger than me. Right. You know, and so, you know.
Well, how were you able to discern? Because as being young in this industry, I think how did you know it was time to start standing up for yourself? Because and not walk away from, because in our industry, being talent, you need the opportunities to get the popularity, to get people to watch you, but you also deserve what you deserve financially. Yeah. So how did you know it was time and were able to discern that, hey, it's time for me to stand up for myself and walk away from an opportunity versus, you know, because sometimes people can be like, well, you just need to get the experience and the money will come. And then you start to realize that until you stand up for yourself, that money will never come. So how did you know it was time to walk away?
Well, it was very simple for me, you know. The station was runaway number 1. I'm runaway number 1 in the mornings. These guys, you know, you're paying me at that time probably, I don't know, $110,000 or something like that. But the white guys getting $200,000. And they're just doing a show. They don't give you a number 1 station 24/7 either. That ain't too hard to add up. That something's wrong here. you know, and I made a statement in Billboard magazine all those years ago where I said it's time to take the red dot sales sticker off of black talent, you know, and I meant that. You know, it was just time, you know, and you know, it's just principle, you know, and that's with everybody. It just, and when you get to that point, you know what your principles are, what you stand for. So it's not hard to figure it out at that point. It's like this, I will, you know, and I've been like that since I was a kid, you know. I mean, even simple stuff. I always knew who I was. You know, Devil's Night on, man. I don't chalk up people's cars. You know, I don't write on walls. I don't, you know, I don't do that. That's not what I do. You know, I've always known who I was, you know, and so it's just I'm very principle driven.
Well, let me say this in front of everybody. Thank you. Being in this industry and you taking on that to stand up for yourself and change things for today, it did make a difference.
Wow,
so thank you
Well, thank
for
you.
being strong enough to walk away and change it and caring enough
Yeah.
about the people behind you
Yeah.
to do something about that, to fight for equal pay, because it's still a problem today.
Yeah, oh, I know. You know, I tell you this too. I used to have my boy. He wasn't an attorney. He wasn't an agent. He's just my boy. He did my contracts, right? But he was smart. I figured you don't have to. They're not paying him because he's got law degrees. They're paying him my value, right? So anyway, but he was. God, I forgot what I was going to say about him. Oh man, I just went blank. Senior moment. Hey man, don't y'all put me on that debate stage with them old men tomorrow night. Have a moment like that, I'll be in trouble.
Well, you know what?
That's what they waiting for. Let one of them do what I just did.
Well, you know what?
But-
If you can't remember, I have a question for you. I'm going to
Okay,
ask
go
you a
ahead.
question. Now, while I was doing my research about you, something jumped out at me that I was so surprised.
What?
The Radio Hall of Fame, you were inducted in 2020.
2020, yeah.
You've been doing this for how long? Well,
55
congratulations,
years.
first of all.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
First of all, it was well-deserved and extremely overdue.
Wow.
So I want to talk about that while we're talking about disparities and unfair. You weren't inducted until 2020.
Yeah, I mean,
How
that's
does
fine.
that make you feel? I mean, well, how is
great.
that?
Great. You know, people always say that, like, man, it's overdue. Man, I never even thought about it.
Really?
Yeah, I never thought about a Hall of Fame. I mean, you know, you're just doing what you do. You know, it's just, I don't know. Those things never meant anything to me. I just never, but when it happened, I mean, yeah, it was huge
It's
for me.
exciting, yes.
See, I mean, even bigger than that, this year I went into the NAB Hall of Fame, National Association of Broadcasters. I mean, that's
Huge,
huge.
huge, huge.
Man, and like only the 5th black person in there. Just, you know, I mean, and that's broadcasters. That's everybody. So you're in there with Lucy and Red Skelton and, you know, that was amazing to me. But, you know, the Radio Hall of Fame, you know, I could tell you about this. The day I found out that I was being inducted, first thing I did was went to their website to see not who was in there, but who wasn't in there. All right? And I was looking for one name in particular. That was Frankie Crocker. I don't know if y'all know Frankie Crocker. But Frankie Crocker's New York legend. Man, Frankie's the best to ever do it to me. Frankie was the man. And he wasn't in there. And so I'm like, well, how can this be legit? And I said that in my induction speech. Oh, yeah, so I said, man, you know, I told him what happened. First thing I did was go and look, you know, and I said, and there's so many people who lived on the right-hand side of the radio dial that aren't here, that aren't represented, and should be, you know. And so, you know, I go in on their shoulders, you know. And but I will say this for the Radio Hall of Fame, that they listened. And the year after I went in, they asked me to become a part of their nominating committee, which at first I rejected. But then I said, well, you know what? If what you said in your induction speech is true, then you need to get in and fight for these brothers and sisters.
Absolutely.
You know? And so, thank you. So I did join the committee. And the next year they created a Legends category. and we put in Frankie Crocker, Martha Jean the Queen, so many others that had deserved it, you know?
Legends.
Yeah, and I love that. And, you know, and the thing is like sometimes it's not racism, sometimes they just don't know,
Yeah.
you know, until you tell them. And the day that they called me and told me that I was going into the Hall of Fame, yeah, I mean, it was mind-blowing. I told Pam, I said, I've seen this on SportsCenter for so many years. All athletes get that call, you know. I said, man, I just got that call. And it brought tears. But if you multiply that by about 1,000, you'll get what I felt the next year when all these other people went in. Because,
Absolutely.
you know, again, to me, we is always bigger than me. You know, it's all, man, I'm serious. I was just so proud to see all these other, you know, and I'm fighting right now trying to get a brother in from Alabama, from Birmingham. It's the second year we got him, that I was able to get him nominated, but he didn't get in. And I get it, because when you take it to the general voting population, they don't know him. His name is Shelley the Playboy out of Birmingham, Alabama. He's just turning 90 years old next month, I think it is. 90 years old. But he grew up in the heart of the civil rights movement. You know, this dude, man, Shelley used his platform. Dr. King used to come there and talk all the time. He would, you know, he gave him the mic, let him do his thing. But he would talk to the public in code to tell them where the meetings were going to be and all, you know, that, man, please. You want that story in your Hall of Fame. That's, you know, like I told them in the nominating committee, I said, man, you know, you can talk about me or Howard Stern or whoever you want to talk about. There's no way you can compare any of this to what Shelley did, the significance of that, of being a part of that civil rights movement in the heart of it, in Birmingham, Alabama, you know? And so I just want so badly to get him in, for him to see it and to feel it before he leaves, you know? I don't want him to go in the legends category. I want him to go in now. And so, you know, I got to fight another year for it. So it's been 2 years and I haven't been able, you know. So let me say this, that's why when you said, why I said I was so happy when you say it's overdue, being a part of this committee is amazing to me, because you see how hard it is to get into a Hall of Fame. I mean, we talk about some bad people in these meetings. I mean, legendary people. And they didn't make it. But it makes you that much more appreciative of the fact that you are in it, too. That we talk about, man, oh, my God, mind-blowing. I'll tell you another person I got in. It's not black, but because it's not just all black and white for me. It's just fair. But Rosalie Tremblay, I know you wouldn't know that name, but Rosalie was a white woman who programmed the music at CKLW. Okay? Yeah. But she had an ear to WJLB and CHB in Detroit. She was, you know, and, you know, while, like, I started Benny and the Jets by Elton John, but when she puts it on CKLW and blasts it on 7 provinces in Canada and 46 states in America, whatever, woo, that's a whole different thing. And I was able to get Rosalie in there, and I was very proud of that. You know, she's deceased now, but, you know, so it's, I don't know, I just love bad radio people, you know.
Well, so let's talk about your connection with Benny and the Jets and Elton John. Yeah. How did that come about? What made you heard the song, you just liked it? Or
yeah.
Let's talk about that experience.
Well, my big brother on radio, Claude Young, the big soul rocker, it was my closest, that was my man in radio. Me and Claude were like brothers. And he turned me on to Elton John. And we'd be sitting there every night in his basement, man, listening to Elton, and the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album came out. And I just fell in love. Well, I was in love with many of the songs in there, but in particular, Benny and the Jets, and I wanted to play it, but I was scared to, because I felt like black audiences don't know Elton John. And so I went through about a week of that, and finally I said, man, I'm playing it. So I went on there and played it that night, and I played it twice. And the reason I played it the second time was because the phones were jumping off the hook from the first time.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like nothing I had ever seen before. Nothing even close to it. It was so instant the next morning, Al Perkins wakes me up. He's doing the morning show. Donnie, what is this song you played last night? Jenny and the Nets. Man, man, you got to bring that down here. I had to get up, take the album down to.
Oh wow, you had to take it.
Yeah,
down
I had to take
there.
it down to Al so he could play it that morning. In 2 days, Elton was on the phone from London. Called the radio station. What is this I hear? Benny and the Jets breaking black in Detroit? You know, it's like, it was amazing. It was amazing. And 6 months later, Elton came to Detroit and held a press conference to present me with a gold record for this thing, right?
Wow.
Man, you know how big that was? I mean, he's the #1 rock star in the world. And it was just such an incredible moment for me. You know, me and Elton became friends. And he loved gospel music. You're like this. I used to send him gospel music because he loved black gospel. And he couldn't get this stuff, but that's what my mama specialized in. So I would send him gospel music all the time and stuff. And but 40 years later, I saw him on the Today Show, and they were interviewing him because it was the 40th anniversary of Goodbye Yellow Brick Road album. And he says, they said, there's one song that when you play the first note, the audience just goes wild. It goes, yeah, yeah, dum, the piano chord. He says, yeah, Benny and the Jets. He says, yeah, that thing broke out of Detroit black. And it meant so much to me because I wanted so badly to be accepted by that audience. And that meant the world to know that this, you know, that you were the catalyst for this was just awesome to me. It was just, it was great. It was great. You know, but for me, again, to take it to today and today's radio, where DJs have no control of the music they play, you know, and I never worked like that. I mean, my whole career, I had total control. And I just feel so bad. There are a lot of young ears out there, people with great ears that will never have the chance to express themselves musically. You know, that would never have a chance to discover and present a Benny and the Jets. They just don't have that kind of freedom. And I hate that. I hate that. It shouldn't be like that. I've always felt like that's part of my job as a DJ, man, to turn you, man, let me check this out, man. I think you like this. Check that. Yeah. You know, that's what I always like to do. So you know, that's changed. It's a different thing now.
Well, you know what? Like Elton John, a lot of artists credit their career because BT's Video Soul gave so many artists a platform and kept people in the loop of the hottest songs. And that was yours. And so a lot of artists credit you for their success. How does that make you feel to know that you've changed the culture? You brought a rock song, a Elton John song to a black community. I mean, that wasn't happening back then, and you did all of that. So how does it feel to know that your impact on culture?
It's amazing. It's amazing. You know, you don't really think about it while you're doing it. You know, you just do what you do. But someone was, you know, we were starting to write a book. People have been trying to get me to write a book about my life. Wow. Since I was back here, since I was 19. And, but I started down that path, and working with this writer, you know, makes you, with all these interviews that I would do with her, makes you reflect on all of that. And she would point out all these different things, and so then it starts to give you some perspective, you know, and it was pretty amazing, you know. The first time I ever got any kind of perspective, though, was VH1 did a documentary called Black in the 80s. And they had interviewed me for it, and so the night it ran, I'm watching, and came on at 9 o'clock, 1 hour. And 10 o'clock is always my bedtime. When I was doing the morning show, that's my rule. Lights out at 10. So I'm watching this thing, and they do the first 15 minutes is about, the brother from the Today Show, Brian Gumbel, the first black to host a national morning television show. Then the next 15 minutes was about Arsenio Hall, first black to host a late night talk show. And then they do Bill Cosby, first blacks on TV in a sitcom that weren't a janitor and a short order cook, you know, a doctor and a lawyer. And then they do Donnie Simpson and Video Soul. And I'll never forget. I mean, as soon as it ended, I just went, okay, how the hell am I supposed to get to sleep tonight? Wow. Seriously, it was the first time I ever seen it put it in any perspective. You know, it's just like, wow, so it was like that? This meant that? You know, and, you know, I always have moments like that. It's like, I just don't get it. You know, I just, again, it's just you doing what you do, you know, but when you know, it's like Jimmy, again, I go back, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis are like my brothers, so I go to them a lot because we talk a lot. But Terry Lewis's thing was like, man, he said, Donnie, he said, you know, you represent a time when music was clean, when it was fun, you know, it's changed, it's different. You represent that era. It's like, wow, that's deep. You know, it's deep. And so how does it make me feel? It makes me feel good. It makes me feel good to have been a part of that. To have this vehicle that meant so much to so many people that, you know, it was a part of our culture. You know, I even looked like back on the TV shows, you know, to be on Martin, and I did Jamie Foxx show. You know, that, wow, you don't think about it again when you're doing it, but you look back on, why were you asked to do that? Because you were such a part of the culture, you know? That's kind of cool, you know? I had this conversation with Frankie Beverly one night. Frankie, I was telling Frankie, I said, our careers are alike in this way, that for black America, it's like everybody knows you have all this love that you get, you know. White folks, they don't know you. You know, they don't know you. I said, now, Frankie, I would never speak for you, but I would like to know. I think you feel the same way. But while I would love to have all of the other, I wouldn't give anything up for what I do have. But to know my people feel that way about me, I can die with that. I'm good. Seriously, yeah. That's for real. And Frankie said, 100%, man. Feel exactly the same way. 100%, man. I don't need to. Do my people feel that way? You know, so Frankie's shutting it down. I know y'all know that this is, yeah. So I'm going to Philly next Saturday for his final show. It'll be, and, you know, I've already shed tears over that, man, because I've been with Frankie all around the world to see him perform, and that's my brother. I love Frankie. And just, you know, they asked me to come on stage and do something with him in D.C. 2 weeks ago for his final show there. And it was just hard, you know, because I know what he's feeling. To live your life on this stage and then to shut it down, that's got to be hard, man. So anyway, but I look forward to it, you know. So I'm lucky. I mean, you know, and I hope this don't sound like name dropping, but these are my friends, you know. I just, yeah. And I love music, and this is where music has brought me to people like this, you know. So anyway.
So, do your grandbabies know who their grandfather is?
Yeah, he's Grandy. Oh yeah, they know Grandy. No, you know, some of the older ones, yeah. The babies, well, and we have 6 grandkids from ages 16 down to 4, but yeah, you know, I mean, yeah, the older ones do, but you know, we don't get caught up in that.
No,
Yeah,
you're just
no,
granddad.
no. Yeah, just Grandy.
I love that, Grandy.
Grandy. Well, the oldest one came up with that. Well, she used to be able to say when she was like 2 or 3, she would say grandma, and you know how kids get stuck sometimes, go grandma and granddaddy. Granddaddy. So finally, she just shortened it to Grandy. And I wanted it to be something else. You know, my favorite city, other than Detroit, is Rome. And so I I've been to Italy many times, and I study Italian and love the food. Godfather's my favorite movie. Temptation's my second. And so with all these things from Italy, when my daughter-in-law was pregnant with my first grandchild, I happen to be in Venice. So I'm on a boat, and I'm practicing my Italian with the driver. And I said, man, how do you say grandfather in Italian? He says, no. I'm like, no? He said, yeah, no, that's it, yeah. So I think, man, my name, Donnie, all things Italian, I'm going to have him call me Don No. Ain't that gangster? Don No. Didn't happen. It's Grandy.
So I know we have to wrap up here soon, but before we open up for questions, I do want to ask you, when people think of Donnie Simpson, when people think of the legacy, how you've impacted culture, what do you want people to remember when they hear Donnie, Love Bug, Green Eye Bandit, Simpson?
He was a good dude. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Seriously.
I
Either
love
that or, damn, he lived to be 137. Either one of those, I'm good.
Well, you know what? Everybody, please give it up for the Love Bug
Oh,
coming
thank you.
back home to Detroit.
Thank
It has
you.
been such an honor.
Wow, thank y'all. Hey, thank you for having me. I really appreciate you.
It has
And I
been
want to
such
acknowledge
fun.
Montez Miller, by the way. She was my producer at Video Soul for a while. Montez Miller from Detroit. She's here today.
Thank you.
I got to shout out Cheryl Poole Harps. She was a teen reporter with me. She was the president of the WGLB Soul Teen Reporters.
Wow.
I was the vice president. That's my girl from way back. So glad to see her here. You know.
Well, Mr. Simpson, before I let Reverend Sheffield take over, I just want to say thank you so much for
thank
coming
you.
back home and having the opportunity to moderate a conversation with a legend like you.
Well,
It's been such
well,
an honor. So
man, it's
thank
been
you
my
so
honor.
much. In front of my parents and my family, too.
Oh, really? Oh, I want to meet your mom and dad.
Yes.
Well,
Mom and
thank
dad
you.
right there.
All right, let's do this real quick. We're going to have questions.
Thank
but
you.
First of all, Lacey is on our board, and I just want to clear things up because Lacey has done more moderating than anybody. And you know,
I love you, Rev.
I was sharing with Donnie today that I have I have nothing but young folks around me, right? And that's what it's all about. That you give other people opportunities to be able to do some things. And so on that note, all of the people who work with me at Dable Stan, Andre Ash, to Shayla's our director of communications, all that stuff you see, billboards and TV and all of that, that's my team right there. Wave your hand to Shayla, Andre, all the rest of my people stand up. My board members, y'all stand up. Staff members, stand up. Leverett, you're fired. I keep telling about wearing your hat in my house. I guess he saw Ed Gordon with his hat, so he figured he'd wear his. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming. We're going to open up now. Andre's going to have the microphone. We'll ask some questions. But do me a favor. Ask a question. You know, don't give us a narrative and then have to think of a question. Come on, Andre.
All right. Real quick, before we go to questions, I think we got a game. We're going to...
Oh, yes. We have some tickets to the Aretha for tonight, actually, so you can head on over there right now. Who are the tickets for?
Rolls Royce.
Rolls
At
Royce.
the Aretha, Rolls Royce.
Okay, so we're going to see how you guys, if you guys were paying attention or not. It's whoever put their hand in the air first, and I get to decide who I seen first, okay? So not going to argue about it. It's my discretion, all right? So what does Mr. Simpson's grandkids call him? Lady, go ahead. Grandy, okay, 2 tickets for her.
Congratulations.
Okay. Which song?
Probably need to stand up so they can really see a hand.
Okay, stand up. Those who can, stand up fast. That's how we'll do it. Okay. Which song did he say had more soul? Whitney Houston, I Have Nothing, or I Will Always Love You? There you go.
Equals me.
Congratulations.
Hey, feet.
Okay.
Man, this is a real homecoming.
Okay. I think I have 2 more sets to give out. 2. Oh, you have to. Okay. So let me know when we're about to run out of tickets, okay? I don't want to ask too many questions. Which station in Detroit did Mr. Simpson start at 15 years old? Go. That's it.
Congratulations.
Okay, what does Mr. Simpson want people to remember when his name is said about him?
I got it. He got Detroit Lions draws on. They buried me like that.
Okay, the second thing, I start here. There you go. 2 more tickets to the gentleman. And then we still got 1 more set. Right here with the hat on, right in front of you. Yep. Do we have 1 more set of tickets? Hold on, I don't want to ask too many questions because there's no extra credit around here. Once they're gone, they're gone. So we got 3 more tickets to give out.
All right, so we're about to let's do that.
So this last question you get
Wait,
3.
excuse me, can you look at Ed Gordon's lean there? Look at that. That's just Detroit cool there, baby. I'm telling you, everybody can't lean like that.
All right. So let's do 1 more ticket giveaway, and then we will get right to questions, and we'll do it like this.
Okay, this one's gonna be a little tougher. Which rock song and artist did Mr. Simpson bring to the black community? I see she stand up first with the black. Say it again. That's it.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, and thank you all for coming. And now I think we're gonna open up for questions from you all.
All
have a
right,
question?
so if you align here in this line, we'll take your questions, and they have to be quick and to the point, and we'll ask the same of our guest in his response.
Okay.
All right. Your name and question.
Crystal Mayo, Donnie, Crystal Mayo, Mike Mayo's sister. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm also a radio personality, Motown and the Cup of Joe Morning Show, and I play my own music.
All right. I love it. Good
I
for
have
you.
with me, I'm also CEO and founder of Our Time Youth Radio, which is a 2-year youth radio program that is tribute to your broadcasting journey. For 2 years, these young people, I have brought 4 of them with me today.
Oh, really? Oh,
they
hey.
are on the
How y'all
air live doing
awesome.
1-hour radio shows on WPON 1460 AM, and they could not believe in a million years that they would meet you. I know we have adults here. Could you please let these young people just come up and just ask their question? They all have questions.
Oh, man,
I'm done.
please. Awesome. That's beautiful.
So unfortunately, we won't be able to get to everybody. That we can't do that. I'm sorry, we are short on time. So can we get to one of you? Who wants to do it? Okay, let's do 2 of them. Okay, let's do 2. Okay.
So, good evening.
Hi.
I'm 8th grader Autumn Griffin from Cornerstone Jefferson Douglas Academy. And I'm not here to ask a question. I really just want to give you, it's a token of our appreciation because Our Time Youth Radio is actually inspired from your time as a Soul Teen reporter. So this is just from all of our members from broadcasting.
Nice.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. Hey, sweetie.
All right, let's get to the next person. All right.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much for this.
Good evening. I am 8th grader Taylor Green from Cornerstone Jefferson Douglas Academy, and I'm a part of Our Time Youth Radio, And you have achieved much success over many decades, years before I was even thought of. But walking through your broadcast journey, when was the first moment that you knew that you made it, that you knew that all your hard work was finally paid off?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is a great question. Wow, man, you're eighth grader? Okay. Wow, I would have to say that probably when I returned from that walkout that I spoke of, you know, that I'd made it. I'd made it through that. And, you know, I mean, that's when my pay scale changed significantly and all of that, and felt like that it, you know, that made a difference for others. And so probably that moment that I spoke of earlier, coming back from that walkout. Yeah, I had one other walkout too, by the way. That wasn't the only one. Did it twice. So thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you very much. Wow.
All right, so we're going to make these questions rapid, quick and to the point. I got you.
Oh, okay. Donnie Simpson.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you remember me a lot. I was your newsman.
Oh, I remember.
The question was that when I talked to...
On a motorcycle.
That's right. The question was, when you worked back at WJLB, and it was WDRQ and WXYZ and WHFI and WDRQ and WJZZ, guys like the Big Soul Rocker, the Queen, the Perker, Jay Butler, they all said something about you in terms of trying to help your career. Do you remember any of those things, those points that any one of them told you?
Wow, you gave me a lot of names. So, not really. No, you know, I mean, of course, I got advice from everybody, but, you know, just the advice that I spoke of earlier from the Queen, you know, don't do it yet. No, but, no. I don't really know how to answer that. You gave me so many names. Can you just nail it down to one person in particular?
Jay Butler.
Jay Butler. Wow. Well, you know, Jay, I like to say this. Jay gave me freedom, you know, that he did, and that's all I ever asked for. I mean, to this day. Well, I just retired from radio back in January, but, you know, the CEO, the owner of the company, said, man, I know there's one rule. Don't mess with you. I say, it's just that simple for me. Just leave me alone. Let me do what I do, you know. I don't like people looking over my shoulders and stuff, man. I just, you know, I don't know. I just always been like that. Just do my thing. So Jay always gave me that freedom. So I give him credit for that.
Nice, nice. All right, we'll get to a few more questions. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Darnitha Davis. Oh, wait. Give him a hug. You remember him? That's his male guy.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I love it. It's okay. So my name is Darnitha Davis, and I just want to say thank you for everything you have done for our community. I am young, but I see the things that you've done, and it inspires me as well.
Well, thank you, sister.
Yes, I am a personality, and one thing I want to know is when you were younger on your journey to being a radio personnel, is there anyone that you've seen that was also early on in their journey and you seen them later on and you just kind of knew that they were going to be okay?
Oh, wow. Well, I'd say there's been a lot of people that I've seen like that.
That you kind of held on to?
Yeah, you know, I don't know. It's not like when I hear talent or see talent that it's not like I'm looking to compare it to something else. It really, you're kind of looking for the uniqueness in it. You know, not that this reminds me of somebody else's. You know, it's like when I would listen to audition tapes. People would always send me audition tapes trying to get hired, and you know, I always looked for the mistakes. You know, the perfect tape. What I want to hear is how you come out of mistakes, because it ain't never going to be perfect. You know, how do you handle, how do you flow? How do you dance through? Right. You know, so, but, you know, I've seen a lot of talent through the years, man, that I'm very proud of. A lot of new talent, radio and television, that I'm just in awe of. I've always been in awe of talent, because I always feel like I hear voices like, God, what a great voice. where this guy is so quick-witted and stuff like that. It's like, God, I wish I had that, you know? So I don't know if I've answered your question.
We'll get to the next question. Just a couple more. Ma'am, are you in line for a question? Ma'am, are you in line for a question? Sir? All right, come on up.
That's that Detroit lean, man. She's just leaning, man.
All right, so this will be our final question. Here we go.
Just a simple question. Hi, Mr. Simpson.
How you doing, brother?
My name is Eddie, Mr. By Black Detroit. So I wanted to know, do you think BET will ever be back in black control again?
I hope so.
Okay.
That is a great question. I would love to see that. You know, I never would have sold it, man. You know, I mean, you know, for me, yeah. But then, you know, people are different. Like I told you, Bob is my boy. So, you know, Bob is an entrepreneur. If he didn't sell it, he wouldn't have been the world's first black billionaire. You know, that could have happened a different way. But for me, you know, I've always felt like we weren't in control of the messages that went into our communities enough. And so I never, man, my great-grandkids would have had to sell that thing. You know, it would have been that important to me to keep it, you know, but we're all different. So, yeah, but I hope it is. You know, it's up for sale now. They're trying to get it sold, so we'll see. We'll see. You know, I know Tyler Perry was looking at it very seriously for a while, and I don't know what's going to happen, but I would love to see black entertainment television in the black hands. Yeah.
All right, here we go. The final question of the night.
Don't worry. You and I can meet afterwards with Ed. We'll buy it.
I love it. Let's go.
So here's first of all, thanks for coming to this beautiful center. That
thank you, Rev.
Honor
Thank you.
My sister at. But you and I are close in age. So you were here in '67, and you remember the transition of Detroit from being completely white controlled to the emergence of Coleman Young and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
What are some of your memories back 15, 16 years of age about the prejudice that was in this town and the police department and those kind of things which may have shaped some of your impressions of Detroit?
Yeah. Wow. Well, you know, I remember the Big Four. Y'all remember the Big Four, right? Right, man. You see that car pulling up, man. You say, man, it's time to go. You know, I mean, that kind of military force was just ridiculous. And, you know, and the sad thing is we just had cases of that recently. You know, within the last year, all these things have been exposed where you have these Big Fours around the country. And it's just, it was crazy. But, you know, I remember being warned not to be around Olympic Stadium when the hockey games let out. You know, you don't want to be around there and all that kind of thing. You know, that is kind of, you know, the racism that we grew up under here in Detroit was, you know, it wasn't just unique to the South. It was everywhere. You know, it was everywhere. You know, yeah, but I was always, you know, I grew up scared of the police, man. I remember having this conversation one day on the radio, and this was in D.C., and we had a white program director, so he was concerned about what I was saying about it one day, and, you know, I said, well, Jay, you know, man, it's different for you, man. When them lights go off behind you, your thought is not, this could be my last day on earth. You don't have to think about that. You don't have to teach your kids how to be pulled over by the police. You know, I said, man, I teach my kids every window down, hands on the steering wheel, finger spread, man, like there's no threat here. You know, you don't have that concern. It was hard for him to understand that, man. You know, but that's real for us. You know, so that goes back for me to Detroit and to any other city in this country. You know, so it's you know, it's hard being black, man. It's I mean, seriously, because it's, you know, you just have a different list of concerns, different experiences that others don't understand, that they just don't understand how you could feel that way. That I love America, but I got some questions about this, you know, and how we've been treated in this country all these years. You know, my jaw say Detroit Lions. It ain't no red, white, and blue flag. You know, so You know, that's just growing up under racism in this country. You know, and for those who think that because, you know, we elected a black president and now it's all over and it's a new day and it doesn't exist anymore, now they're trying to rewrite our history like all these things never happened. Come on, man. You know, it's tough. It's tough. I say it's tough, but I don't mean to make it sound like that's not what you want to be, because it's very rewarding. Everybody want to be us. You know, ain't nobody got that cool like us. You know, so.
And on that note, this will conclude our Dabo Community Empowerment Speaker Series. Please give it up for the one and only Donnie Simpson.
Thank you. Man, thank y'all. Thank y'all. God bless you.
And our moderator for the night, Lacey Horn.